That's what I was asking. I was like, how on earth? Okay, same picks and bans, except Jay Trollin obviously can't pick up Hecarim because Clones Our Dragon already picked the Hecarim. How did that even... Oh, Midnight GG is saying that it wouldn't let him pick a champion. Same picks and bans. And and then it auto gave you Hecarim. Interesting.
Riot. Well done.
Congratulations, Riot. We still can't see the spells. I mean, we can kind of pick them out, but we really can't see the spells from Team 2 because Riot's good at these things. Don't worry,
Every
Custom.
patch it gets better.
Don't worry, Custom. It's okay. Riot's games are pure and never have any issues. And there's definitely no way that Hecarim would make it into a pro game twice. So, her 2 is second projectile skill shot charm. Her first is dash, like zigzag, you can make it shorter, point blank, and hit a guy 3 times. Yeah, that's also sounding a little bit like Echo.
You don't have the heart.
Ability, Rito is best company. I mean, who doesn't like it when your computer or when the game freaks out? Hopefully Midnight can actually pick a champion this time around. And does Clones Our Dragon pick up the Hecarim? He does pick up the Hecarim. And K Fancy picks up the Hecarim. And Jay Trollin picks up the Hecarim, because apparently everyone's playing Hecarim the same. You know what would be fun, Ryan? You know what would be really fun? Is if we shoutcasted the 5v5, where it's exactly the same champion on both sides. That would be pretty fun.
Yes.
The
all for one?
All for one Blitzcrank versus Lee Sin. All for one Anivia. Basically cover the entire lane with snow. It's just how it goes. Digital did pick up the Vayne, so looking for that late game carry role. We saw her power 2 games ago. Once she hits the mid to late game, however, she gets carried early. Gonna be rough too. The Echo banned away as the last ban for Team Syndicate. Taking away those mid lane options, the Ahri and Echo, taking those people out that Lord Reeves does not want to play against. Braum and Leona, the supports, knocked away from AnKaR. Trikova going for the healing support of Nami, who does have some decent CC as well.
I am very surprised.
Switching to the Tom Kench, maybe?
Where's the Thresh?
I like the Tom Kench. You know what? That's a good point. There it is. He's just playing with us. It's the Thresh. Very end of the day. No reason to worry about Morgana. Just grab Thresh. Thresh Vayne. Nice setup there for the Vayne Condemn into a wall. Gonna have all of the setups, especially with the Anivia stuns or Pantheon stuns.
Yes.
Her 3 is a jump, and her ult grabs poisons 100% anti-heal and throws them in any direction, and then it spreads like Malzahar thing. I've tried Echo, but he's expensive. Yeah, I don't play much with Echo. He's a little over my head when it comes to skill. Aviate back on the Orianna, feeling comfortable on that champion. As Broken Hearts trying to pick up a support and decides to go with the Karma support with the ADC Ezreal. That's what we kind of wondered if that was how it was going to be. Midnight not playing AD carry this game. Gonna grab the Vladimir for the top lane. So lots of options here.
Yep. Interested. So we've got Poppy versus Vladimir. Vladimir, we've got so much hyper carry potential. Syndicate. But the tankiness of the Poppy is definitely a tipping point. Orianna, no slouch on the late game either. We saw what Avet can do when he gets ahead on this champion. We've got Clones Our Dragon to carry the ball, Cag Fancy to carry the ball. So we've got some pretty good team fighting. Debugging also on the Ezreal. A super powerhouse pick right now. Jay Trollin on the Vayne. I've never seen him play this champion before, so we're not sure exactly what's going to go down in the bottom lane. But if Vayne gets ahead, definitely has the ability to 1v1 the Ezreal, and we know how potent Trakova is on Thresh. Never seen Midnight on the Vladimir, but we know this is a very powerful pick in the late game. And Poppy doesn't really have any tools to shove Vlad out of lane with the amount of healing that he gets. In the middle lane, anybody who's been watching the stream for more than 5 minutes knows that I'm pretty sure Reeves is fairly close to undefeated on Anivia. It's pretty close. Lost one or two, but it's a terribly difficult thing to do with that champion. So it's gonna be a super hard fight, both ways. We saw Team AnKaR just absolutely demolish earlier in the game, but they haven't come up against Team Syndicate yet. So we're super pumped for this match. Kind of a well, you can't really call it a grudge match because they've never fought each other before, but it's going to be very, very cool to see.
Skill matchup. But before we get too far into it, let's go ahead and run through the teams and their players. For Team AnKaR, we've got Debugging taking Ezreal in the bottom lane AD carry role. The only player who isn't a true AnKaR member, as clones are Dragon with the Hecarim in the jungle, Kag Fancy with the Poppy in the top lane, Aviat back once again on the Orianna in the mid lane, and Broken Hearts, first time on the stream, welcome, playing Karma in the bottom lane support role. Give it away for Team Syndicate, except for Jay Trollin.
Yeah. So let's see.
No, you're supposed to go through Syndicate and their players, and then you can talk about analyzing.
I was typing.
Right.
Oh yeah, so for Team Syndicate, we've got Anivia picked up by Lord Reeves in the middle lane, Frankimus on Pantheon in the jungle, Jay Trollin picking up the Vayne in the ADC role, Syndicate Trakova on Thresh in the supportive role, and Midnight on Vladimir in the top lane. Analytics standpoint, I think there's definitely a lot more late game carry potential between the Vayne, Vladimir, and the Anivius, that unless Vayne falls behind, because there's an advantageous matchup for the Ezreal, if Vayne can make it to level 9 without getting significantly far behind in either CS or kills, she outscales Ezreal. However, he does have the advantage of the early laning phase. So if Vayne doesn't get behind, if Anivia doesn't get behind and give up kills, which I don't expect that Anivia will due to the presence of Egg, Orianna being a burst champion, if she wastes her whole kit to blow Anivia's Egg, there's not going to be much of a potential for to then die a second time to her damage. So I'm expecting mid to go neutral or to a slightly Anivia favored. Shield from Orianna helps to block a good bit of the damage coming through from Anivia. And in the top lane, I feel like it's kind of neutral. I don't expect Vladimir to kill Poppy or Poppy to kill Vladimir, so it's kind of just going to be a fun fest. That's my expectation, at least. So the swing matchup right now is Vayne should lose the early game to Ezreal. And if she doesn't, I think that's where the thing's going to turn. It's either going to be on Anivia or Vayne, and then Vladimir's just going to get a lot stronger in the late game. Looking at the jungle matchup, though, I do believe Hecarim has the advantage over Pantheon. Pantheon's going to do a lot more damage early game, and come level 6, he'll have a lot of ganking presence from odd angles. However, everyone knows that Pantheon just falls off a cliff in about 26 minutes. He's just useless. Except as a stun bot, his damage just doesn't scale well in the late game. So unless Frankimus decides to build tanky and position into more of a late game mid-line tank to soak damage along with Vladimir and Thresh, then he's really going to be kind of a non-champion in the super late game. However, looking at all the champions that are on the side of Team Syndicate, you're not really worried about damage in late game anyway. But you do have the hyperscaling tank to soak that damage in Kag Fancy and the ridiculous amount of damage that Avid's going to be pumping out and debugging on the Ezreal. And we get into the game, and there's a pause. Always what you want to see.
They wanted to give you more time to talk about the game.
As if I hadn't been talking enough.
Exactly. You guys spend some more time doing it.
And the game will resume in 1 second. Awesome. I'm not sure what that pause was about, but it looks like there's going to be an invade as usual, except for the fact that Frankimus is not moving.
This Vayne is riding a motorcycle on Summoner's Rift.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have seen it all. I am happy. I can die happy. The game is over. We're done. That's it. That's awesome. I knew that.
Oh, I love this bait. Frank is sitting in the bush and try and get people to stack onto him. Oh man.
Oh, Hecarim is going to move in on him, but I don't think there's going to be much more than that. Both teams are trying to bait the other team in, but that's going to be Pantheon with the first stun, but the hook from Thresh, and that's the death on Hecarim, as it was not expecting the 4-man sitting in the bush with the Thresh hook, which is awesome. Okay, the hoverboard by, or the hover bike by Caitlyn and her Pulsefire skin is awesome. But gosh darn it, the motorcycle from this Vayne is freaking amazing. I seriously don't have anything else to say about that. I'm just gonna have to zoom in and watch that every time.
Executed early game strategy we've seen on this stream so far, though. That was such a clutch bait right there.
Ah, Reeves, the leader of all the shenanigans.
Yes, Lord of Shenanigans.
Now, it didn't really do it that much to Hecarim. He was able to get out. His team leashed nicely for him anyway, so he might be actually, he's a little bit ahead of Pantheon as Pantheon just finishes his blue buff. The only thing he lost was giving a little bit of golden XP over to the enemy team that all got to participate in the kill and assist of that. But other than that, not really the end of the world for him.
And giving Reeves first blood is kind of scary.
Frankimus coming quickly to the bottom lane, debugging both of them, forced to flash, but is stunned from the Pantheon, chain CCing with the death sentence from Thresh, hooking the Karma back in, and that's going to be a second kill very quickly over to Team Syndicate, which
and
so far,
both flashes burn. Excellent timing. Hold on, we got something of an all-in, I guess. Excellent timing from Frankimus on the gank. Managed to pick it up before debugging got access to flash or to his E. Wow, big chunk down onto the Ezreal. But managing to time that before Ezreal had his E meant that even though he burned flash, he still wasn't safe. Midnight in a little bit of trouble in the top lane, but not a lot of follow-up damage from Cag Fancy. So
that was beautiful.
Okay.
He is going to get stunned up here. Cag Fancy getting some nice autos down. They're going to take at least 2 more to finish off Midnight. He's going to be able to walk back in. But the pool that he did was really good because it stopped the charge from Hecarim, who's going to ghost in now and is going to get the execute. Just waited around long enough, and Vladimir got very greedy. Midnight, so greedy in that top lane. But the initial pool was really, really nice because it killed the charge from Hecarim and slowed him so that he couldn't get any auto attacks down after Vlad came out of the pool, which is really good. Nice hook there onto Karma, playing into several minions, uses the shield on herself to try to survive. But the third proc of those bolts from Vayne, they're just so incredibly strong. This Vayne is massive already, and now with Vladimir teleporting back into the top lane, he has pooled again. Cag Fancy wants to get a stun down on slamming it into a rock, but now Frankimus coming up there. In the meantime, Avia had pushed out underneath the turret from that Anivia. That's going to be fun to kind of mouth back and forth, but it looks like top lane's going to be able to escape for now.
Yeah, Lord Reeves down a little bit in CS, kind of to be expected on Anivia, not the best CSing in the early game. He gets access to his ultimate. However, has forced Avit out of lane on 2 occasions, so definitely winning the matchup. Not really sure who's favored in that matchup. I would assume it would be Anivia slightly, especially post level 6. But not a mid lane main here, so I can't say 100%. Midnight, on the other hand, has been camped twice. He is down flash, I believe. He managed to hold on to his flash, so he's still a little bit safe to be up this far.
And he's way up ahead. Well, not way, but he is up in CS as well. So even though he was ganked and did die, the teleport back in and surviving Hecarim's follow-up gank was the main thing and being able to then keep to his farming. And that's kind of what he does, you know, is that Vladimir just heals, even if he gets taken down pretty good. Mount Lord Reeves a bit in trouble, down to 200 health. A couple more auto attacks might finish him. He's just going to get egg form. No flashes. Doesn't even burn the egg form just yet. Is running a potion. Aviate wants in. Going to avoid the stun. Throw out the orb. But Deception...
I think he's trying to bait Aviate into a level 6 all-in under the tower. And then juke him out with egg form.
Which is an excellent plan as long as he doesn't die and Aviate actually gets underneath the turret. But Pantheon is going to be here. But so is Clones Are Dragon. Frankimus now on the run. Down to half health. Double stun onto the Hecarim. Nice good damage there from Anivia. Is going to force the Hecarim to back off. And both junglers go straight back into the jungle. In the bottom lane, Vayne. 15 CS up and counting. Doing really, really well. But Frankimus returns for the gank. The heal from Aviate, keeping himself alive for a moment. Frankimus now in trouble. Clone's going to be able to pick up one off of that one. And the Anivia is out of mana. Not good for Team Syndicate.
Yeah, Midnight roaming down and looks like he's going to go for something on the Aviate, who does have access to his ultimate now. However, he is just used command attack, so he's not going to have access to the ball for a second. Midnight just walking in, claiming a little bit of CS, making sure the XP doesn't go to waste, and going to walk back top lane after soaking probably this wave onto the tower from Aviate. However, that is a return kill 2 onto the Hecarim now. He can get a little bit out of control. Hecarim is one of those champions who's really good on this patch as well. Trakova sitting around in the bottom lane. I saw the most interesting thing on the other day. It absolutely destroyed me in lane. I'll have to talk to Cody afterward, give him some ideas. But what is he running for his keystone? I don't know. It won't tell me.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's unfortunate. You can't hover over those anymore and read them just from the spectator position. Yeah. There is pings now from both teams onto the Ocean Drake. It looks like Hecarim might be pinched out here. Nice exhaust there. Vayne here as well. Nice play backwards into double stun. And J Troll is going to pick up the kill credit on that one, which is really good to continue to feed your Vayne. Already 2-0-2. The Vamp Scepter for the lifesteal, so she can't get harassed out of lane. And now with the red buff as well, this is going very well for her. She is going to roll her way up to the Drake, in which there's the Pantheon and Thresh already on. Pantheon should be able to... he's losing a good bit of health. I'm actually not sure if he's going to be able to take it all the way.
Should be the one tanking this, to be honest. However, the early game Pantheon, not legendary for his ability to take dragons, let's just say.
Ezreal has pressed the attack, just so you're aware.
Yeah.
So no, Syndicate is able to pick up the Ocean Drake. Cag Fancy backing up.
He has Cuptomancy.
I don't know. Sethinger says he's got press the attack. I'm not exactly sure why.
Yeah.
I don't know. I trusted him. But Midnight maybe in trouble again as Hecarim. Oh! Oh, the pool! Just as he charges backwards. The timing on that was gorgeous for Midnight, who has teleports. He still isn't going to lose all that much. Frankimus losing a ton of his health, though, is going to be going in, but ulted straight backwards, and you cannot 1v1 Aviate. You have got to give that Orianna more respect than that, as Aviate has showed over and over proficiency on that champion tonight.
Yeah, however, Lord Reeves clearing out the minion wave. He's got access to ultimate now, so definite. Okay, Clones Are Dragon moving into the enemy jungle, taking away the red buff, knowing that that Pantheon has been dead for a little bit, and know there's no contest, but bringing his top laner along just for extra security's sake. Trakova hovering up on this side, going to try and catch the Hecarim.
Oh. That sentence not going to land, is going to be forced to back up. Pings there saying they do see them. Hecarim once in. Nice play there. However, there is going to be a Vayne here, and that's going to be changing things around, as the Hecarim doesn't even get the fear, placing it too poorly, and Reeves Unable to take down Aviate just yet. Gonna lose a good bit of health as well. Still has the egg form. Debugging here with the Ezreal. Qs are going to land. J-Troll in a bad spot. The Ezreal art comes through, and that's gonna pick up 1 as well as get the egg form out of Anivia and pick up 2. AnKaR back into it, being able to pick up 2 kills off of that, and now pushing their gold lead up into the 500 realm. Vladimir just off to the side, going to see what he can do with Thresh coming in here, wanting to pull someone underneath the turret. He flashes, but this fight is all over the map as the Broken Heart's going to be held together underneath the turret long enough for Trakova to pick up credit for that one. Frankramus coming here in the mid lane, finally gets level 6, but doesn't teleport, or doesn't ult in, just comes running in himself. Avia's still off to the side, has the blue buff, and so stacking that mana, getting ready. Oh, Pantheon flashes in, and he's able to pick up 1 with the burst damage. That's why you always grab the lantern, Pantheon. Grab the lantern. Oh, wow.
Cody's tilted.
Tilted. Hashtag as a support, when you throw that lantern, you get tilted when nobody grabs it. I would get tilted too. Midnight just farming his way in the top lane.
Yeah. Once again, scaling advantage in the favor of Syndicate. However, Team AnKaR doing a very good job of making use of their early game pressure. 2 kills on the Ezreal now, despite the fact that he was really getting just kind of destroyed in lane. Managed to pick up 2 in that last fight, get himself back into the game. He is still significantly far behind. Pantheon going in on Tag Fancy, but not going to find anything there. So kind of a waste of that ultimate. Not really expecting to be able to burst down a Poppy who is stacking magic resist. So that's going to be problematic when she comes up against Vayne, who is kind of huge right now at 2-1. It's supposed to be behind.
Yeah. Thresh. Flash hook is gonna land. Throws down the ultimate as well. Not able to pull the Karma and Mantra Shield, keeping her alive for a moment. But Vayne is gonna be traded. 80 carry for support. 2-man ult from AnKaR. Still gonna lose his life in the mid lane. And the bottom lane, Ezreal continuing to push in onto the Thresh. Nice little stun there from Anivia. But no! The block auto attack from Pantheon keeps himself alive for just a moment. And now Tag Fancy going to lose a little bit of health as he has to walk all the way back to the turret. I was going to comment earlier on the Pantheon ult in the top lane. Could make sense if the Poppy was like hard pushing the turret and you wanted to clear minions and just push the Poppy off of the turret. But Poppy was actually recalling in the middle of the lane just by herself. And so Pantheon, I guess, just delayed her recall for a moment. That was about it. That was about it.
So the kill in the mid lane, definitely advantageous. Getting the out of Tag Fancy. So when she's forced back here in just a second. However, Hecarim is coming up right now, so he's gonna have Midnight's gonna have to back off real quick.
Yeah, Vladimir definitely in trouble. It's not pulled yet. Now uses the pool, but the speed boost by Hecarim gets him in. However, he's underneath the turret. Midnight is going to be taken down. The turret shot too strong. And Trakova on the par with these hooks. Going to give Pantheon over with 1 more spear. There it is. Anivia trying to steal it away from the top side. As J-Troll and unable to even get an assist on that one.
Better to give it over to be honest.
What'd you say? Oh, better to give it over to the Vayne. Absolutely agreed.
No, to Anivia. Very strong in the late game. Any kills you get onto Pantheon is a kind of delayed investment type gold. You're not really going to get anything out of it. For perhaps a slightly larger lead right now. Debugging, playing the Ezreal very well, though. Managing to keep the wave down and keeping damage off of his turret, as well as picking up all that CS. Reeves losing out on that trade fairly heavily in the mid lane, but still picking up the wave. He does have access to egg right now, so he's not bought. Probably going to go back to base and shop for a second. Aside from that, it looks like Trakova and J-Troll have kind of organized themselves around this Infernal Drake, but is in the top lane right now, not near this Infernal Trade. Very high priority right now, so he should be moving down. Trakova scaring Karma off of the ward. Cell walking around now. It looks like Frank is moving down toward the Infernal Drake, pathing that way, but the majority of Team AnKaR is on this side. However, Poppy's teleport is down at the moment, but both and Anivia have teleport up. So theoretically, 5 men can join, whereas only 4 can join from the side of AnKaR.
Yeah,
really
now,
back off.
Pantheon is already here. Oh, Trakova in a massive amount of trouble, and that's going to be death as he went way too close to the bush without the support and the rest of the team. And now, oh, Pantheon barely able to smite the Drake away. It's a full man fight. His clones of Dragon are here, and they're going to do a nice bit of damage. Exhaust onto Broken Hearts, but that's the support. Pantheon flashing in, as well as the Vladimir. Orianna from the back line trying to do what she can, but forced to back out. Says it's not worth it, and debugging in a spot of trouble standing on a ward. And I'm not sure if they're trying to give it over to someone in specific, but Vladimir is going to happily take that one. Lord Reeves did actually teleport back to the mid lane to defend, and now going to do good damage onto Avia as well, putting him down to a 5th health as the Anivia with that ultimate is able to just clear the minion wave with no issues. Avia getting some nice damage back. That was one comment I was going to make way earlier, was that the wave clear, stun not quite going to land. These two just going back and forth with each other's health, playing the knife's edge. Go ahead.
And a comment that I was going to make, that all stems back to what I was saying just before. The difference in that fight was the fact that Poppy wasn't there, and she couldn't join because she was in the top lane without teleport. Vladimir able to join, picked up 2 kills with the addition of the damage, despite the fact that their Fed Vayne got eliminated from the fight almost instantly. Didn't even get to contribute any damage. However...
Oh, that series of events was beautiful. The wall from Anivia to force the Orianna backwards, flashes, and immediately Jay Trollin with the Vayne flash tumble as well to get in range for the second auto attack and finish the Orianna off, taking her down for a 3rd time in the game. So great play there, movement from Syndicate as the bottom lane turret was down, and now they're going to pressure the Rift Herald. Poppy is going to come in to ward it and see this, but I don't think she's going to be able to do all that much.
Yeah, and this is what I was expecting. Oh! And that's a dead tag fancy. Yep, no potential to get away. And that's another kill over to Jay Trollin, as well as the Rift Herald going over to Trakova.
But you can see the
what I was expecting. The mid-game rotations coming out of teams where we see Cody, Midnight, or Reeves on it. Trakova, they're all excellent shot callers. While mechanics may not be the cases, they're all excellent players. However, it's the shot calling that usually gives their team an advantage.
Pantheon chasing down the Ezreal. However, Karma right around the corner with the Mantra Shield, going to be able to keep himself alive, keep him alive for a moment. And with that threat of a root, Pantheon decides to back off, just using his ult try clear the minion wave, but it was a little bit too late as the tower already went down. Reeves is clearing minions in the mid lane. But I agree with you in that the movement of Team Syndicate has been really nice, and you can actually see that Cag Fancy had his flash available. And so you would think that he could have just used his flash to flash over the wall of Anivia, but the chain CC that went down was beautiful. The stun from Lord Reeves held him in place long enough for Pantheon to walk in and stun, held him long enough for Trakova to land a death sentence hook and then flay, which meant that the Poppy really just had no option on being able to just flash the wall and get out.
Yep. So in the mid lane, it looks like the bottom lane has finally rotated toward the mid side. For defense purposes.
Oh, Pantheon might get caught up here.
Taking a side lane position. Let's see. Let's take a look at the stats right now.
Ooh, Threshold just flying nearby, debugging, not gonna land. Now in the top lane, Vlad is pushing it down. They've secured themselves 2 turrets to the 2 turrets of AnKaR. and it is actually a top turret versus mid turret. That's the difference between the two. Trakova in a spot of trouble now, throws up the ultimate just for the slows. Vladimir here as well to try to help out. Death Sentence pulling the Hecarim in as Poppy just ults him away, but it is Baron showing up while people die all around him. He's alerted by all the blood. Is Jay Trollin in a spot of trouble? Half health. Now Ezreal ult gonna fly by, nearly take him out. Heal used as well, trying to give it to Anivia. Lord Reeves is able to pick up the Ezreal with the CCing of Trakova, which honestly is making a huge difference in a lot of these fights. That CC chain of the hooks and flays into the stuns of the Pantheon and Reeves' Anivia is just making a massive difference. Ooh, the pool from Midnight to avoid the ult from AnKaR. However, very low health. If it gets him with the auto attack, that's the thing you've got to pay attention to, is that the damage from Orianna's autos stacks over time as long as she continues to apply those. And she does weave those in and out of her abilities. Now Lord Reeves down to half health here, trying to get what he can, but Jay Trollin, very low health. The flash, but the flame from Thresh keeps her alive, and the shield as well. Jay Trollin lives. Pantheon all coming through. Cake Fancy on the run, but the flash it onto the Karma as well. The chain with Lord Reeves' auto attack, she gets him a double kill. Debugging in the mid lane, trying to stop the Rift Herald push, and should be able to keep it from getting onto a second turret. But dang, that Thresh is amazing.
Yeah, Trakova played that fight so clean, keeping his AD carry alive. Jay Trollin should have been dead. After the CC chain, he got feared by Hecarim, moving back against a wall to get pinned up by Poppy. But the peel was real, and they managed, but while that CC chain was amazing, they did it all in the middle of Lord Reeves' ultimate. Ignoring the Anivia stacking damage is kind of a bad thing, because Reeves is now 5-1, picking up 2 kills off of that last fight. He's now pretty terrifying himself. Jay Trollin getting out alive, where he really shouldn't have. This is going to be a big chunk on
Chain CC onto Poppy. She's going to be able to try to sneak through the edge, but is going to go down. Vladimir teleporting in, and that's going to be the Hextech Revolver, allowing them to take out the Ezreal as well. Pantheon took too much damage in the beginning of that fight, but Vlad way over everything, flashing as well. 1v2 with the help of the Thresh. They're just going to eliminate each other out. Baron now on the eyes for Syndicate. 3 members strong with the Thresh tank. The damage dealers of Reeves and Vayne should be able to take it. There will be some time, but Karma being the only one left alive on AnKaR, don't think she's going to be able to stop this.
Yep, this is a has to go over right now. There's really no contest that can come out of the enemy team right now. Excellent shot calling, great capitalization on the fact that they had an advantage right there. Very, very well done from Team Syndicate.
Can I build that motorcycle? Really? I'm just not even, like, seriously though, that motorcycle's just...
Yeah. Really just revolving around the fact that Reeves was sitting in a brush and Cag Fancy face checked, and usually that's okay on a Poppy, but not against a team packing as much damage and single target CC as Syndicate is right now. So they didn't have the vision to go in there. They should have just given the Drake over, but they were greedy and they got caught out. And then the fight, they should have just left Cag Fancy to die. However, wanted to continue the fight. They got a decent amount of damage down on the Pantheon, and then Ezreal was like, I can finish this. Warps forward, something you almost never want to do on a team fight on Ezreal.
Oh, the flash play and a hook as well. Trakova, a god, now moving in, gonna throw down the shield as well, but Jay Trollin, flashes to grab it, pulling himself to safety, and that's gonna be the flay from Thresh, also taking out the Hecarim, keeping his AD carry alive. This Thresh is amazing as the Pantheon clears the top lane turret.
Wow. Okay then. That was pretty crazy.
If you want a highlight reel, this is how you do it. Trakova throwing down the lantern, waiting for his AD carry to fly on in. AnKaR on the run. Hextech from Midnight trying to get in. Jay Trollin needs one more auto attack. Tumbles in. Oh, almost to his death. throws down the shield as well. Turkova drops the face of the mountain, trying to keep him alive, but it doesn't even matter. And even with the Lock of Iron Solari, both of them are going to fall, but bottom lane turret has already been taken out. Midnight, looking for the last little bit of damage, takes out the Karma, and now once debugging one more Q, he's able to suck the rest of the life away from the Ezreal, as Anivia just cannot be touched. Finishes off the Hecarim Cag Fancy on the run. Midnight looking for a slow. Doesn't quite get it. Q not going to be enough, and it is on to the inhibitors. Pantheon just walks his minion wave through top lane, picking up 2 turrets and an inhibitor by the time this fight's over.
A gift, just a repeating thing. Could this be our loading screen of Reeves flashing into the wall right there?
Oh, I did not see that.
Just make a repeating gift. Yeah, it was in the middle of the fight. He tried to flash the Hecarim damage and just face planted into a wall. I want to make that like a GIF.
I could do that.
And
I did that with the Tark dance.
Yeah, put that as our stream background for the next 2 weeks.
Reeves face planting a wall.
Wham. Now, of course, edit out the part where he totally dumpstered the 2 guys who were chasing him afterward. Edit that part out. Just him face planting into a wall, please.
Oh, nobody remembers all of the amazing plays that you do. They only remember the ridiculous plays that,
The fact that you flashed into a wall.
Exactly.
Faker face planted into a wall. It doesn't matter that he killed 5 guys after doing it.
and soloed the entire game by himself, because that's Faker and he can do that. Alright, so Baron and Drake not going to be up for a bit, but we can see that with the 2 turrets, the turret has not changed for AnKaR since like 10 minutes ago. Mid lane turret, still very low, never quite finished off, and they have been on the defensive ever since, and now have lost all 3 inhibitors. The movement of Syndicate are just incredibly strong, and the late game of the Vayne and Vlad and Anivia are really starting to show the ability to chain CC. The question is now, how does AnKaR get back into this? They have decent champion pool. Oh, Ezreal flashing a really thick wall. That's actually very hard to do. Debugging on the run. Don't know that he's going to be able to escape. Orianna saving his life. Almost taking out Pantheon in the process, but her ult is already down. Ezreal are just going to fly through, missing most. Kerm trying to get in. He's going to get his slam down, but he's already half healthy. Debugging going to be finished off by Vlad from across the way. He's going to pick up Hecarim as well, though Vayne did go down earlier. Hecarim grabbing that one. But they want to finish the game as Poppy teleports into the fight already inside of the base. Slam into a minion to get out and from behind the Anivia wall. But it looks like the first inhibitor, the Nexus turret, sorry, is going to go down, followed by the second. There are too many super minions and not enough wave clear on the side of AnKaR. It just doesn't even matter at this point. They're just going to continue to stream into the base. Cag Fancy trying to push the rest of the team out. Trying to say, get out of my base. The exhaust is down, but the hook means the death of Orianna with the flay as well. Well, Lord Reeves picking up a last kill before the end of the game. Syndicate crushing it from about the 15-minute on.
Was a very good game. Despite the early game going completely in the favor of AnKaR, we saw Syndicate turn it around through superior shot calling and rotation. That joy to watch. Very good game. So MVPs, honorable mentions, and shoutouts. There's gonna be a lot of shoutouts this game. So MVP, going over to Avet on his
So shocked.
his signature champion now, Orianna in the mid lane, doing an excellent job. I've never seen someone lane consistently over and over again. Ton of pressure down onto the Anivia, despite the fact that Anivia did get fairly massive into the late game, did a ton of damage. Avet still managing to deal butt tons of damage and get his team ahead. Still managed to show up in team fights. Now, honorable mention goes over to Clones Dragon. Excellent ganking, moving around the map. However, his control of the area surrounding objectives, as well as the early game camp he did on the Midnight, fancy to get fairly significantly ahead in the early game. Shout out to debugging on his Ezreal. Very, very good play there. Ezreal's super strong champion right now, but still put in a lane where he was put significantly behind in the early game. Managing to still do a good job and stop the bleeding, not give over too many more kills against somebody like Trakova, who's kind of legendary for the picks that he's managed to get on the Thresh. We've got MVPs. That's your honorable mentions and shout outs for the losing team. However, for Team Syndicate, MVP, actually, I'm going to you, but the MVP is going over to Trakova this game. I almost never give it to supports, but I think
He earned
Trakova earned it.
He
earned it
absolutely
this
earned
game.
it.
The flash flay into hook. He saved Jay Trollin more times than I can count this game. Really got the bottom lane ahead in a matchup that should not have been ahead. Karma Ezreal is supposed to destroy pretty much everybody, especially Vayne, who's super weak in the early game. But Trakova really doing an excellent job and showing up in the bot lane, roaming around, vision control, removing wards, getting vision that allowed his team to make superior calls, move around the map, capture objectives, doing an excellent job, really showing how to play support at a high level. So that's your MVP. Honorable mention,
Everyone.
probably going to go over to Lord Reeves, but there are a lot of contenders for this one, to be honest. A great job moving around the map and capitalizing on ganks, getting a ton of kills for himself, despite the fact that Pantheon's usually not the best champion, especially for the late game. He still managed to really get a ton done on that champion.
Time for some thrilling heroics.
Lord Reeves showing up at 8-1, dealing I can't actually see the damage graph, so I don't know who did the most damage. As you know, Riot needs to fix their game, but still, you have. So Frankimus managed to show up on a champion that probably he shouldn't have been able to, and also Midnight just casually 8-5 at the end of the game. We didn't give him a ton of screen time, and we didn't talk about him, but he really did some very clean plays on a champion I've never personally seen him play before. It was very clean performance in the top lane, despite getting camped over and over again. I think just about everybody on Syndicate gets either a MVP honorable mention or a shout out. Oh yeah, and I don't know if I gave a shout out to Jay Trollin, but he did an excellent job on the Vayne in a difficult matchup. Despite the fact he did have an excellent support, but he played Vayne very well. Probably the most mechanically difficult ADC lane.
An early game played it really well. And the thing with Vlad that I want to comment on is that Vlad did an amazing job of just pulling pressure. How many times did Hecarim gank top lane and nothing came out of it because of a perfectly timed pool? It's after multiple times of Hecarim trying to come in behind the Vlad and hit him from behind to do good damage, and Vlad pooling at the right time. Hecarim says, you know what, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to run around in front and slam him backwards, and the Midnight still pools at the perfect time, calling his bluff, and gets away. And so the entire game long, he kept his farm up. He was still over 60 farm over the Poppy, kept his farm over the Poppy, kept his pressure, kept the teleports at the right time so he could actually teleport into fights rather than Poppy who had to walk, and that's why they lost a big one around Drake, and kept drawing Hecarim pressure to the top lane without dying, which is exactly what you needed as a top laner. It was beautiful to watch.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite game of the night. Definitely getting to see the Syndicate. We just need to get Briar on here and do that whole thing again. But almost met their match in the early game. They were significantly far behind, almost 3K down in the early game, doing a really good job, but showing off the team fight or the shot calling and being able to move around the map. That was really excellent to watch.
So crazy, crazy, crazy awesome. So we are going to transition into our giveaway time